Yes, nonsense and analysis.
Yes, Watu, here we are again.
Absolutely.
What are we discussing today?
The discussion today is about the first world champion, Wilhelm Steinitz. And
It's our 5 minutes thing.
yes, exactly. Reminding the viewers that we did, we're actually doing a whole series in terms of improving your chess in 5 minutes. I think it's a very interesting idea for anybody who's, even if you don't want to improve your chess, but just want to be competitive. No?
I think if you watch this, even if you don't want to improve, if you
will.
watch it 5 minutes a day, you'll unwillingly improve. So
We'll take you kicking and screaming.
yeah.
So we're looking at Steinitz. I mean, and we're looking at his contribution, and I think what is going to be interesting is that we are not necessarily looking at it like in a encyclopedic Wikipedia type of way where we're going to be saying, we're just going to be talking about how we how we perceive him, you know, so some days we may get wrong here and there, and but I think it's a very interesting discussion. You know?
Yes, and in fact, I want to share this with the viewers actually that making this series, Watu and I, we were looking for nice examples of the first world champion Steinitz, and just going through this journey of finding games and explaining it made us get to appreciate Steinitz even more. And this is where the idea came from, to share our thoughts and ideas in the process a bit, and maybe let the viewers get to know the special world champion a bit better. So yeah, who did Steinitz beat to become the first world champion?
Steinitz beat Zuckertot, and I think he just was stronger than him in that match. But what was interesting about Steinitz, what I knew, before even we sort of tried to get more of his games, was that he was that guy who, the story goes that actually he started studying Paul Morphy's games at some point, right? He was already playing, and if you look at his early games, he played very widely. There's a game where he played, I think it was against the Zuckertot or Anderson, where he goes check, Anderson goes check, goes king e2, and the king matches
e4, king e2.
Yeah, king e2. Then in one game, king goes to d3 to c3 to b3. I mean, madness, but he's keeping everything together, but wild stuff.
Yeah.
So this used to be his style. He was playing the same way that everyone in that era
basically coming out of that romantic era.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly, aggressive and everything. But then he studied Paul Morphy's games very closely, and he started making notes for himself. And then, so he had some principles then that he developed. Well, he was using obviously Paul Morphy as base, but of course other games as well. And then he started sort of writing in articles, and then but proving it. Like he was writing about weak pawns, about two bishops, about this and that. But I mean, for me, it's like it's actually an amazing idea, because remember, he was writing his thoughts as he was playing. This is something special.
Yes.
Right? I mean, not many. I think the other world champion who was not afraid to do this was, because of Botvinnik's influence, was Kasparov. Because I think, Botvinnik, there's a story that he said to Kasparov, look, if you want to keep your analysis, if you want to make sure your analysis is crisp, publish it. Because that puts extra pressure on you. You have to, right? You have to do a bit more.
Yeah.
Right? So, but not many world champions, actually. I mean, Klaasen hasn't written anything yet. We hope that he will.
Yeah.
When he stops playing. But Steinitz was writing and playing at his peak.
It needs to be done.
Yeah. So for me, he was that guy. And actually, I don't know if you remember the chapter on positional chess in Think Like a Grandmaster. Because this was, like, for me, the earliest influence, where, Gotov's book, of course. And then I read in the positional, because he starts with analysis, then he goes positional.
Yeah.
And he talks about Steinitz and as the father of the principles, and And so for me, this is the guy I knew. As you know, and he actually was world champion for quite a while. I mean, he defended. You know, I think he played Chigorin twice.
Yeah, that was epic matches.
He was main rival. They had like this amazing style.
Yeah,
where he was taking material and defending and this and that. You know, and I think they both moved chess forward.
Yeah,
and he played till, I mean, he was at the top for a long time. I don't know, but it was well into his late 40s, definitely. Yeah. And amazing player.
And you mentioned, we were talking about Steinitz, you mentioned that at some point he moved to the US?
Yes, exactly. At some point he actually moved to the US. So his name is actually Wilhelm.
Yeah.
Right? Austrian Wilhelm Steinitz. But then when he gets there to the US, it becomes William. You know, to make it easier for everyone to know his name. Yeah, so it becomes William Steinitz. And he continues playing. I mean, amazing guy. But I think, you know, that's where you notice the strangeness of our times, because in our times we know a lot about people because social media and cameras and writing, and you know, we take it for granted, right? But if you think about it, not a lot is known about, you know, these other players, you know, and I'm not even talking about like people like Steinitz. I'm talking even your Botvinniks and your stuff, you know. Okay, they wrote some memoirs and stuff,
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know much about his life, like his outside chess, you know, because no one really wrote about it,
yeah.
You know, and let us know. But I mean, I know that he was just an amazing chess player and contributor who definitely moved chess forward.
Yeah, for sure. And if you go through his game, you can see it actually. For instance, so what Steinitz brought to the table, like you mentioned, he came out of this romantic era, but he started showing or basically proving that you can defend. For instance,
exactly,
positional principles, and grab material and defend and beat your opponent in that manner.
Exactly.
Whereas in the romantic era, you just sacrificing until you run out of pieces, and whoever makes first wins.
Yeah. Right? And the point was that was at that moment something that you know, people thought this is how you play.
That's the method.
They didn't see anything else.
Yeah.
You know, and you can actually even see now in our world. You know, I mean, I've been through the transition, like, you know, of having encyclopedia, no database, then having ECO, then having database, then having computers, but not strong, right? So there's always been this change, and now we have the strong computers, and I've also sort of played not only I've seen the change at the top of the world, you know, with the world champions and stuff, but even in South Africa, my rivals, you know, have always fallen into these categories, and they've played differently. All of them have been playing differently, right?
Yes.
So very interesting, but so, you know, that's where you admire somebody like Steinitz. I mean, okay, let's have a look at this, you know, just to show, for me, a game that we do touch upon it, so we're not gonna go deep into it. But this game, I mean, it's actually quite an amazing game because
we took our time to select some games that we want to win. We found some epic games of Steinitz, and this guy is just absolutely brilliant. If you haven't checked out Steinitz's games, guys, I started watching Steinitz's games in this book of Garrick as part of my great predecessors. It's a couple of nice stories and games. Of course, if you want to learn more about him, just check out his games. And this is one of the gems we found. Watu, I don't think it's that well known.
No, you found it. Actually, I didn't know this game, and you found this game, and you know, the more I looked at the game, the more amazed I was in terms of, I mean, the forward thinking that Steinitz goes for. Because we have to really remember the era in which he's playing this. I mean, when Steinitz plays all these moves, F5, G4 and stuff, I'm sure the opponent thinks he wants to pawn stone.
Yeah.
But Steinitz is playing to restrict the opponent. And here...
Seems like he's been playing on this wing and on that wing.
Exactly. It's just restricting the opponent completely. It's a completely. I mean, today, okay, we're not we look at it like it's normal, but it's way ahead of its time.
Way
ahead, right?
Yeah.
And then the next move. I mean, for me, this Rook A2.
Wow.
I mean, you know what? I'm looking at the strength of Rook A2, what it's doing, but I'm in my head. I'm going back to the time where how everybody else is playing chess, the best players in the world, and how he plays Rook A2. I cannot get it. I mean, this Rook A2, because he understands that black has to try and hit at some point, right?
Yeah.
And his center is going to open because he's advanced, so his king is going to stay in the middle.
Yeah, if you advance on the wings, then someone will try to come to the center, and he's anticipating this already.
He's anticipating this already with Rook A2. So for me, this was like one of those games that made me really appreciate the guy's strength. Because remember, you know what I wanted to mention. So many times why Steinitz is overlooked. Was certainly by me, not as a great player, but I'm talking about, you know, when we always are listening to someone count the greatest of the world.
Talk about Elakain, talk about Kasparov,
exactly,
about these guys.
Right? And Kasparov makes a very compelling argument, and I think that argument is right, where he says, look, we are looking at the distance that you are having to number 2.
Yes.
Right? But because there's no ELO system that has been developed yet in Steinitz's time, right? We cannot for certain talk about that distance, right? In terms of numbers, you know, rating or whatever, right? However, after I looked at this game, I'm thinking that he's back. I mean, for me, he's in the top 5 of the best world champions because the distance that he has in terms of understanding of, you know, how everyone else is playing and how he was playing in some of the games.
This guy's doing it fresh, new. Nobody else doing what he's doing at that time. Now he's revolutionary.
It's genius. You know, there's that quote that says, you know, genius is a target that is not even there, right? It's what he's doing. It's off the scales. I mean, he's off the charts, you know. I mean, okay, and then the other game. Let's go have a look at the other game. This is now
this was against Baird.
Right.
Looking at the wing play.
Yes.
And then now
the defensive one.
Defensive one, I think that's against Tinsley.
Uh-huh.
Here we have it.
This is another gem that you unearthed.
Yes, this one I really like because it kind of emphasizes this positional play and being able to defend. And Steinitz was playing against guys that's just coming at him. And here we see an example where Steinitz just pushed the knight with a3 over there. And a normal response would be knight c6, but black doesn't want to turn around, and he just sacrificed on h2.
Yeah. This is how you play.
This is the type of players Steinitz were facing him.
Yeah. This is how you play chess.
So,
because you know the point is that we forget quickly, but the defensive level has gone ridiculously up, and now in today's world it's even worse, right? And because of the computer in today's world, right? But I mean the defensive strength of the players is, you know, guys are falling apart. You know, as soon as people start sacrificing, they're falling apart, and he's not panicking.
Yeah,
this is amazing.
He really opened up the world's eyes for this idea. See, talking about this defensive level, it's interesting how at that point Steinitz showed the world that you can defend, and then there came a time again. Mikhail Tal came in and he started sacrificing and showing that it's possible to become very in playing the style. And then after that, computer era came in and harder defenses and so on. And then after that, again, the Alpha Zero then came with a different type of sacrifices, right?
Exactly.
So it's interesting how the attack and defense is developing on the timeline of chess.
Definitely.
So, but Steinitz was the first guy, or one of the first people to actually just show that
absolutely
you can accept material and defend and
exactly.
won in the long run.
Exactly.
This is an interesting one, guys. Check out Steinitz actually.
I like this one.
All of these games are in our 5 minutes a day videos. So Yeah, and we packed 7 of them in.
Yeah,
So 5 minutes a day for one whole week. We do Steinitz, and then you move on to the next set.
But I'm telling you, the thing is that I really encourage the viewers to have a look at the games, because without spending too much time, what you're doing is just you're getting the sort of the gist, if you may, of because you need to have. The point is that we're going to cover all the world champions, and you need to know each and every world champion.
Yes.
Because they brought something.
Each one brought something fresh.
Yes.
Something interesting.
Tools. But those tools you need today. Because if you don't have those tools, it's like you don't have a tool to do something, but your opponent will have. And they'll dismantle you.
Yeah.
Because, you won't be able to do ABC, but if they've studied the specific. So this, I feel this is very brilliant. It's actually, for a club player, without committing much time, you can really improve. As you were saying, you are almost forced to improve because you are picking up some very important skills now.
I think that's essential. Any player should study the world champs. There was one more interesting game that we had in mind. So there's this epic match that you were mentioning. We played 2 matches against Chigoren. And I think they called Chigoren like the last knight, the last fighter of the Romantic era. After him, the switch went over to the Steinitz type of play.
He was so dominant, Steinitz.
Yeah.
And actually, many authors said that actually Steinitz's greatest student, someone who absorbed his lessons, was Emanuel Lasker.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it actually is, for me, this is the game that is so impressive because he's playing a genius, an attacking genius, someone who's going to create chaos. He's going to create chaos. There is no two ways about it.
If you check out these world championships, guys, these 2 guys are playing brilliant attacking chess. Gordon he impressed me.
I mean, he's gonna go for it, and so they reached this position, and now Steinitz knows that.
Now Lopez like position.
Yes, with G6, and Steinitz himself had been playing. He's been playing like this G6 as well in some of his games, right? And so he knows that. Look, at some point, F5
possibility
is coming.
Some King's Indian like style.
Exactly. Well, I mean, so he's feeling it because we know, as you're saying, we can see all the plans, but he's feeling it.
Of course, King's Indian defense wasn't created that time.
Exactly. That's my point, right? So he's feeling, though, that this can be dangerous.
Yes.
And notice how ahead of his time he is again. And this is number 2. So now this is the measure I'm going for. I'm going now to that Kasparov formula.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm saying the distance between number 1 and number 2. But I'm talking about the distance. I'm not necessarily talking about like in strength-wise. Okay, he proved that he was stronger than Chigorin.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about in understanding of chess.
Yes.
It's day and night. It's you cannot even compare. And you're right.
So almost like Steinitz has that extra tool that
exactly
others don't have.
Right.
So.
Right, the one wine in the world at that moment.
So Steinitz does something interesting here that I think is quite revolutionary. Even nowadays, you don't see it that much, but you see it started getting into these piano openings and Rai Lopez. He plays this amazing move.
Come on, this is my point. It's very easy.
Late 1800s.
Exactly. it's very easy to sort of browse through this and not have any thought process. But no one has played like this ever.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like a guy like Magnus Carlsen, he's so brilliant and strong, but he's absorbed from Steinitz and Lasker and Tau. He's already seen it.
Yes.
He's not creating something new necessarily.
No.
This guy's doing something completely new.
Against number 2 in the world.
Yes.
Okay. Now have a look how ahead he is. Okay. So he goes knight f1, and then at the end, our next move 11 is of interest to us. So after knight e6.
So the game went a bit further, and at this
goes a bit further, and Chigorin is trying to hit with f5, right? He's repositioned his pieces and everything. It's H4. Come on. I can see it's too much.
Yeah.
Right?
That is, that's revolutionary.
You know, please, the viewers, go check. There's a game amongst one of my other favorites. We'll get to them. Petrosian against Schweber, 1960.
Mm-hmm.
That's when in the Kings Indian Petrosian plays this
Petrosian,
time. Yeah.
Specialist against the Kings Indian.
Yes, which is H4.
Beautiful.
Right? And now you look at that. It's a prophylactic move.
Yeah.
Because if you play H5, you can play F5, and you know H5 is coming, and as happened in the game, the white squares become weak.
Yeah. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I would be impressed myself of playing this in the 20th century or the 21st century. But this guy's doing it. Like I said, in the late 1800s.
No, it's amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
So, that's some of the stuff you'll get to see in this set of Steinitz. I'm rekindling my love for Steinitz as we go along. So lots of stuff, and of course, this is also our 5 minutes a day. This whole idea we have of 5 minutes a day is to make it easy for the viewers to get in some experience, some knowledge in bite-sized portions. But I think this should also be a catalyst for the true chess lover if you want to improve, to check the games out, and you can do your deeper research and go and check on more games of Steinitz. But we are highlighting what you should at least have under the belt, so to speak. And it's exciting stuff, Watu. I think this is a great idea. Steinitz, of course, very appropriate to start off with.
Look, I mean, I'll just mention in passing a close friend of mine, Nejo Stefanovic, who's a FIDE master, and he said to me, "Look, you know, of course he knows the games, right? He would not have reached that level had he not known the games. But he said to me, man, I just like to watch every day, like a good game every day, just to have a look at it."
Yes.
And so I think it's but that's the point, is that even if you do know the game, but with different with someone else annotating the game, there's a certain view that maybe you didn't look at a certain point. It's always interesting anyway. Even if you do know the game. And I think though that I'm hoping that the viewers, man, I wish I was if I was young and having this 5 minutes a day and the world champions. I mean, whoa! I would
having this at breakfast.
I would have had this at breakfast. Yeah.
So I think that's that. This is our first world championship set. So I hope the viewers enjoyed it as much as we had creating it.
I enjoyed it.
So I think that's that. Is that enough nonsense for us for today?
That's enough nonsense for today.
Yeah, if you liked our introduction here, everyone, Steinitz 5 minutes a day, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you for the next 5 minutes a day. Cheers.